43%. This is the number of students who qualify for free or reduced lunches at the Columbia Public School District. 36%. That's the score those students as a whole received on state tests last year, compared to an 82% by the rest of the student body. Superintendent Chris Belcher says the two numbers correlate. It is not a coincidence. You can find this achievement gap in schools, big and small, all across the nation. It is a gap often created before a child even steps foot in a school. It is a gap school officials say will eventually affect the community's economic stability. One more number, 50 out of 50. This is where Missouri ranks in state subsidies for preschool and early childhood funding. Belcher says with no new money coming in, the school district is trying a new solution to close this gap. It's called Cradle to Career.
What the achievement gap means in a practical sense is that we have a large number of children, principally low-income children, whose chance at living the American dream is far less than we like to think it is.
Educators, however, know the reality. They see it every day in the classroom, every year in state test scores, and it's growing at an alarming rate.
Columbia in 15 years has gone from about 27% of the kids that qualify for free and reduced lunch to 43% this year.
If the rate continues, another 15 years would mean nearly 2/3 of students needing food assistance and likely falling into the achievement gap hole, which education leaders describe as hard to climb out of.
1 in 10 students who is not a proficient reader in 3rd grade will ever become a proficient reader.
At just 8, 9 years old, a path is set, the American dream squashed, but not without a fight. Columbia Public School District leaders, the United Way, and about a dozen agencies and businesses in Columbia are now implementing a very young but promising program called Cradle to Career, a community-driven answer.
Most successful stories that deal with achievement gap are community-wide initiatives.
Cradle to Career is now standing on its own after being under the school district's umbrella for the last 5 years. This is how it works. An agency and business wanting to join must also be willing to share data. This can be daycares, after-school programs, financial aid programs, the food bank, community centers.
So they can simply come and say, we want to be part of this group, we want to get the measures, but we need some help.
As Philip Peters puts it, a lot of groups and agencies hoping to make a difference have very little idea if what they're doing really works. Dr. Belcher agrees.
Do you think Program X is successful? Well, kids go to it, they like it, etc. That doesn't mean it's successful.
They also may not realize the data they have to offer. This is a big part of Cradle to Career. Help will come in the form of a data analyst shared by United Way and the organization. The analyst will go into a participating agency and help them identify the data that could prove beneficial to closing the achievement gap. An example, 2 agencies help high school students get into college, but one had better outcomes.
The agencies which were participating got together, they compared their practices, and they found out that the agencies which were doing face-to-face assistance with completing the complicated financial aid form had much better enrollment numbers.
In this case, the data was the practices and college enrollment numbers, but it could be anything from a mentor's habits and his students' school behavior results or reading grades, or a privately owned daycare making sure toddlers take naps and read at least twice a day. Once Cradle to Career finds a practice proven to work, it will pass that finding on to all other agencies, participating or not. The hope is once they identify what will move those achievement markers, they can help agencies implementing them find funding, because Cradle to Career is not a funding source.
We don't have new money to give out. Our goal is to do more with what we have.
They have no money, they don't give away money, they don't measure and award you occupancy or certificates, they simply make it public.
And that's where businesses, and more specifically, CEOs, can help these agencies grow these working programs.
As the networks form, we would be really helped if businesses that have already done quality improvement, performance management in their own enterprises would be willing to share some time coaching our community agencies in how to put that into practice in their work.
If Cradle to Career doesn't work, leaders fear a more polarized economy for Columbia with a growing number in poverty.
It is concentrated, sadly, on 0 to 5 children, the youngest children, so it's going to become a larger problem for the schools than it has been in the past.
Cradle to Career officially kicks off in January with a community coalition group that is willing to be the program's pilot for data collection and sharing. Those will later grow into action networks, pulling in agencies willing to participate. As for the data, 2 areas with the lowest research so far, or for ages 0 to pre-K, the very influential time frame in a student's life that could help them avoid the achievement gap. And agencies who track graduates tend to only go 180 days past the graduation date. So if a student dropped out of college after or during freshman year, it wouldn't be followed. If you would like more information on Cradle to Career, its goals, and where the idea even started, we have links and information on abc17news.com.